Thompson at the Pathways Innovation Center, and I'm recording this video for absent students who may be a little confused by some of the feedback I gave them. I will say the vast majority of my students have a score of 7 out of 10 points, which means that they have a little work to do before they've met expectations. A score of 8 or better is required to schedule your job shadow and get the paperwork. So most students just have a little bit of work left to do in order to be able to schedule their job shadow and may be a little confused by what I'm asking them to do. So I'm recording this video for students that are not here in class so that they don't have any questions about the feedback I've given them. So if once you're in classroom, and I'm going to go ahead and go into my first block class in my student account. Let me zoom out a little bit here so you can see the full page. So if we click under classwork and we scroll down to chapter 5, that's where you'll find that college and career ready plan step 1. And we click view assignment. Once that comes up under your work, you will have the table that you did your research in the CIS website. And I'm just going to pretend that I'm doing this for the career I did as an example, information security analyst. Well, this, once again, you only have to do this for your top career, the number one choice you have. And this is where I'm really wanting you to start building your plan to get the additional education and certifications you need after you finish high school without debt. And so in order to do that, you're going to have a little bit of work to do. Now, I've already done this, and I've noticed down here, preparation required for the career, most people have a 4-year bachelor's degree for this career. And so I happen to know that Casper College does have a 2-year program, and you can end up with an associate's in cybersecurity is what it's called. And so what you would be doing in this paragraph is probably starting by looking at Casper College, and then also be looking at how you did on your ACT and your cumulative GPA to this point in high school to see what level of the Hathaway Scholarship is a realistic target for you. Because with this job, we're probably going to do what we can to live at home and then go ahead and go to Casper College. And then if we can't live at home, maybe look at working in the dorms. So you go to the Casper College website by going to caspercollege.edu, and you'd look under programs and courses, and you'd probably look at degree and certificate programs A to Z. And now I'm going to look for one for cybersecurity, and these are all alphabetical. Or if they don't have that, see computer security, there it is. So I can click on that. And I can see that the Casper College does have a cybersecurity program and that it is a 2-year program. It gives me a little background. It tells me I'll get an Associates of Science degree or an Associates of Applied Science degree. So they actually have 2 associate's degrees, 2 2-year programs. And I can read about the requirements and everything else here if I would like. So first I might read a little bit about the program. But now that I know that this is a 2-year degree at Casper College and I don't need a bachelor's, that I can go to work after a 2-year degree, now I need to know a little something about the cost. So you'll always go under admissions or maybe future students to find that information. So if I go under admissions here, it tells me cost and financial aid. So I'll go ahead and click there. And it's going to give me all kinds of information here, but it's not really giving me cost information right up front. So what I'm going to do then is go back under admissions and come over here where it says tuition and fees. So I'll try that. And right there, it tells me I am a resident of the state of Wyoming, so it's going to cost me $3,000 a year at Casper College. And then it tells me down here, books and supplies are about $1,080. So it's going to cost me about $4,150 if I round up between tuition and books and supplies a year. So I need to budget and plan for $4,150 for 2 years. But then it tells me if I do double occupancy in the dorms with a meal plan, with a housing deposit, it'll cost me about $7,000 a year, which is definitely cheaper than living with roommates off campus. This is Mr. Thompson. My own son is living off campus, and we figure that it's about a $12,000 a year bill for him to live off campus and not live at home, which is why it is very smart for you to live at home if your folks will let you while you're still in college. Because then you don't have to budget for the dorms, $7,000 a year, which you could pay for by working your way through school, or you don't have to pay for off-campus living, which is probably at least $10,000 a year. So it is cheaper for you to live in the dorms with a meal plan. But the question is you need to figure out how you're going to pay that $3,000 resident tuition and the $1,080 in books and supplies, so about the $4,150, plus another $7,000 a year in room and board. So you got $4,000 in tuition and books and fees you need to budget for. And then you need to come up with an additional $7,000 to live in the dorms and also have a meal plan. But the good thing about living in the dorms is you don't then have to pay utilities, and you don't have to grocery shop. You can eat at the cafeteria if you are living off campus. If you move out and live with roommates, a lot of students that do that are not successful, which is why they encourage you to live in the dorms. So I'm asking you to not only budget for the $4,000 in tuition and books and to figure out how much Hathaway is going to pay towards that. I'm also asking you to go ahead and budget for your living expenses at a minimum of $7,000 a year. And then if you plan on living off campus and moving out of your parents' home, to give me some realistic estimates. You may need to look at some rentals and see what those run a year or a month, and then multiply it times 12 so you can kind of start budgeting and planning for this. So I'm really looking for you to not only tell me how are you going to pay for your education without debt, but I'm also looking for how are you going to pay for your living expenses without debt. And so let's be very clear that, and you only have to do this for the top job, that is what I'm expecting you to do. So let's pretend that we're a student who does plan on getting Hathaway. So let's take a look. And before I go any further, I want to make sure that my recording has not stopped over here. Okay, no, I think I can record 10-minute videos on the free account. So at least we're okay for now. So what you'd want to Google is Hathaway scholarship requirements. And you'll get the requirements right away. And it'll come up, it'll be your first link, and it'll show you every level. So let's pretend that the student we have kind of slacked off in high school, didn't take it seriously, didn't understand that they were planning their future by how they were doing in school. And so let's say that they, have a C average, a 2.0. Well, realistically then, we can either do the provisional or opportunity levels, which pay the same amount, $840 a semester. So if my GPA is below a 2.5, I could get that up to a 2.5 by the time I graduate if I'm a junior or a senior. And I would know that I would need to get a score of a 17 or better on the ACT in order to get one of these two levels. Now, if I checked with Mr. T and my cumulative GPA was a 3.0, I could look up at the performance or honors level. Maybe if I have a 3.0, maybe I could get straight A's between now and graduating and push that up to a 3.5. And then I would get an additional $400 a semester between the performance and honors level. To make sure that you are on track for Hathaway, I would schedule an appointment or ask to talk to your homeschool counselor and make sure that you have all of these classes that are required for Hathaway. But there are two things we need to make sure, once you have all the required classes, then basically you need to make sure you have the right ACT score. For this level, you would want a 19 or better. For this one, you'd want a 17 or better. GPA the same, at least a 2.5. For these levels, you'd need a 21 or a 25. And you would need a 3.0 GPA and an ACT score of 21 or a 3.5 and an ACT score of a 25 to get those levels. So let's pretend that we didn't take high school seriously and, we scored maybe an 18 on the ACT. So I would have to score a 19 to get that level, but it doesn't matter a whole lot. It's still going to pay me $840 a semester. So that's about $1,600 a year. We figured out that tuition and books is going to cost us $4,000 a year. So if we take $4,000 minus $1,600, we should come up with, from the $1,600 to $2,000, we've got about $400, right? So now we're at $3,000. And then I'm going to have to record another recording here in just a moment because this is going to cut me off. So I'm going to stop here and then I will start a new video. So hold on just a moment.